1971, and I've just been born, and I'm in the arms of my mother after a really good delivery. And the obstetrician, who was a family friend and also had been her mom's obstetrician, says, "What are you going to call her?" And she says, "Sarah." And he starts to cry because he knows that Sarah is the name of her mom, who died when she was 49 of colon cancer. So growing up, I felt that it was such an honor to have her name. It made me feel really special. But as a young girl, I was also kind of scared of it because I felt like if she died young, maybe I would too. So I always had this low-level fear of cancer, and as a teenager, if the C word came up, I just shut those conversations down. A few years later, I'm in my last year of university, and I'm in the kitchen of the townhouse I share with my best friend, Lori. And I'm pushing my tongue up against the roof of my mouth to feel this little raised, painful bump over and over. And I'm thinking, this is because I smoke. This is because I smoke and I have tongue cancer. And I'm gonna have to tell my parents I have tongue cancer, and I'm probably gonna have to get my tongue amputated, and then it's probably gonna spread and kill me, and I'm really spiraling when Lori walks in the room and says, "Why don't we just go see what a doctor has to say about this?" So I'm terrified, but I take a deep breath and I let her take me to the walk-in clinic across the street. And when it's my turn, I stick out my tongue, and the doctor goes like this: "That's an inflamed taste bud. It will be gone in 2 days." And I'm like immediately laughing at myself and embarrassed, and like the overreaction was so ridiculous. And I did learn something from this. I did grow up to be a functional human being, and I've had health scares and crises, and I've handled them. I understand that's part of life, like most people my age, right? But I wouldn't say that my fear of cancer completely went away. It's 2020, and I'm in a radio studio in the CBC building across from the host of a radio show called Fresh Air. A study has just come out that says that midlife is the unhappiest time of life, specifically 42. And I'm there to say why I think midlife is our power years, this time when we can take what we've learned in the first half of life and apply it to the second to create what we want. And the host says, "Why do you think midlife is so powerful?" And I say, this is a really underestimated time of life. We're told that we have to become everything that we're ever going to be by the time we're 40. When I turned 40, I did all these new things, personally and professionally. I went back to work after having kids. I started writing, I started editing, I ran a social media team, I became a managing editor, and I found coaching. And when I was doing my training for coaching, I looked around and I saw all these people just like me who had kids who were a little older, and we were all in this new phase of life. We had, all this life behind us, but so much possibility as we were learning this new skill. And I decided that that would be the focus of my coaching, like what this rich, rich time that midlife could be. So sitting in this interview, I say to the host, assuming good health, midlife is the only time when we'll have as much experience as we have possibility. And even as I say it, I have a focus on the assuming good health part. Because I have one grandmother who's in her 90s and who's thriving, and so I know that life can be long. But the other grandmother, who I'm named for, died when she was 49, the exact age that I am sitting in this interview. 9 months later, I turned 50, and I'm so excited because these are my power years, and I'm just sure this is going to be my best decade. And so I make the appointment with my doctor for my 50th birthday checkup. But because of COVID, I have to wait a couple of months. So it's November 2021. And finally, I'm sitting in her office, and she says, "Okay, You have to have this test and this test and this test, and it's time for a colonoscopy. And I say, okay, I am a little scared of that one. And she says, that's fine. You can be scared. You still have to do it. So the first appointment I can get is for January 2022. The night before, I'm sitting with my family. They're having their Sunday night dinner, and I'm feeling sorry for myself because I have this really huge jug of disgusting drink. And the instructions are to finish to the last drop. And in this kind of context, I'm quite a rules follower. So there's no way I'm not going to finish this thing. But it's not fun, and I'm up all night emptying. The next day, my husband drives me to the clinic, and because it's still the pandemic, he can't come in with me. So I'm standing in front of the building where the clinic is, and my legs are shaking. And I just feel so light, like I could float away. And I think, okay, just focus on one foot in front of the other. Get yourself to the reception. And I check in, and they take me to this room. And the nurse is so lovely and so chatty, and she's just like making me feel so comfortable. And she says, did you finish all the prep? And I say, oh, yes, I did. I sure did. And I know, if nothing else, I'm getting a gold star for that. So then she puts me on the bed, explains everything that's going to happen, asks me to pull my pants down to my ankles, turn on my side, and that's where I am lying with my butt to the door when the doctor comes in and says, hello, Sarah. And I take a look at this man, and he's wearing a mask, but two things are clear. One, he's roughly my age, and two, he's far too handsome to be doing this procedure. And I think, no way. I do not want this man doing this procedure, anyone but him. But like the nurse, he's so relaxed and so friendly and so matter of fact, and it's like I've come in to get a haircut. And the next thing I know, I'm in a blissful drug-induced sleep. But then, when I wake up, I'm in the same position, and I feel a sharp pain. And I'm like, ow. And they say, oh, do you feel something? Yeah, I feel something. They said, well, do you feel the camera moving, or do you feel us removing something? And I say, well, I think I'm feeling both those things. And they say, okay, well, we're almost done. And I am not happy that I'm awake for this. Anyway, they take me to the recovery area, which is curtained off, and I'm waiting to pass wind. And I'm listening to people on the other side of the curtain really triumphantly farting. They bring me a cookie and some juice, and then the doctor comes to tell me that they have removed 4 polyps, and one of them was quite large. They think it's okay, but they're going to send it to the lab. And in about a week, they'll be able to give me the results. And the good news is I probably won't have to come back for 5 years. So I take my cookie and I meet my husband, and he drives me home. So Friday night, this was a Monday, Friday night, I'm by myself in my living room, and the phone rings, and I see the name of the clinic, and my heart starts beating faster. And I answer the phone, and it's Dr. Handsome. And he says, I know you weren't expecting to hear from me till Monday, but I don't want you spending the weekend worrying. He says, the polyp was not cancer. The margins were clear. Everything is negative. But Sarah, you make polyps that matter, and you need to tell your parents and your siblings to be checked right away because it was really close to becoming cancer. And I say, how close? He says, good question. if you had waited another month or 2 months, certainly within the year, this would have turned into cancer. And I think, I'm so glad he's my doctor. He says, you will never, ever get colon cancer, ever, because of this test. This is the definition of why we do this procedure. I thank him so much for his kindness, and I hang up and I burst into tears. I'm so grateful and I'm so relieved, but also I'm quite shaken because I'm thinking about how close I came to living out a future that some young part of me really believed was my destiny. And I just want to hug little me. I want to hug little me and tell her she wasn't wrong to worry. But I'm also so grateful to middle-aged me for doing the brave, scary thing and allowing me to live my power years.